Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today on Famhealth. As you know, we are continuing to try and bring you as much coverage as we possibly can on coronavirus with our doctors, whether it be about the impact of coronavirus on diabetes or immunotherapy, or just in general. And part of what we want to do is also bring you something to do and keep you engaged while so many of us are at home. And for all of you that are staying at home, we'd like to thank you on behalf of the healthcare community for taking what is actually a very important step towards making sure that this country remains healthy. So first of all, thank you. And second of all, today I have the pleasure of being joined by Ms. Vasudha Jha, and she is an ICF certified life coach and a communications and public policy expert. So she's been in the corporate world for about 2 decades, working with organizations on reputational and policy issues. And how recently ago was it? I'm not sure, but she ventured into life coaching to help herself through a challenging period in her own life. And she's now found her ikigai in helping others navigate difficult choices. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ms. Vasudha Jha. Hi, Vasudha.
Hi, Sanjana. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction.
Of course.
And yes, life coaching is a new and interesting field right now. Like you said, I ventured into it while to help myself, while I was going through a really, really challenging kind of a time. And trust me, it has really helped me. It has brought me out of this dark place that I was in. And I think it's a great tool for people to be using at this point of time where all of us are, the life is riddled with insecurity and we really don't know what's going to happen, what's going to happen next, how we're going to, what are the next steps overall in India and in the world. So I'd just like to tell you a bit about life coaching. So life coaching should not be confused with counseling. We really do not deal with mental issues that need medication or need to be provided with prescriptions. We also do not explore any kind of childhood trauma, except as much as it impacts our present life, the here and the now. Life coaching is about making enabling changes in our life. And it is for people who want to take responsibility for their lives and will benefit from personal accountability. Yeah. So the idea of wanting the change and being personally accountable for it is very important in life coaching. If you really think about it, none of us need more advice about vitamins or, to be told to exercise or lose weight or stop smoking, because, that's a no-brainer, for health, we all need to hear that. But I think they need a partner who helps them to be accountable for what they do, who is an expert in the area of change. Life coaching is done in a very non-judgmental space. I think that's one of the very special things about life coaching, where the coach does not judge you or the coach does not give you any kind of solutions. The whole the way the method works is that the coach will ask a lot of questions to the coachee. The clients get an insight into their own mind. They will find their own answers. When people, and the good thing is when you create your own answers, when people find their own insights, you're able to have a greater buy-in and invest in the outcome. Yeah. So that is what is very, very important in life coaching.
And how do you think we can use principles of life coaching or life coaching in general, specifically for this lockdown period?
Okay. Well, what is making this lockdown more difficult is that people have been suddenly jolted out of a very robotic existence. So we used to wake up, we used to go to work, we used to come back, eat, sleep, maybe party on the weekend. But now suddenly we are out of our comfort zone. So as human beings, we have this habit of creating comfort zones wherever we go. And we had really no time to ease into this change. And very frankly, with so much time, most people don't know what to do with it, and while, we must have wished for it that, I wish we didn't have to commute. I wish I didn't have to be stuck in traffic. But, whatever we wished for, now that we are locked up at home, it's a truly challenging experience for everybody,
Totally.
And especially at a time when it's creating so much economic insecurity.
Definitely. Speaking of comfort zones, one of the things that I wanted to ask you was what you recommend in terms of structuring a day. I think it's become very easy for many of us to kind of fall into a Sunday routine, I would say, which is
Right.
wake up, do nothing, do nothing, do nothing, do nothing, go
Yes.
to sleep. And so, in a sense, you're going from this one comfort zone of going to work every day and having that routine into a much less productive routine. So, what do you recommend people start doing now, as the lockdown is still just beginning, in order to develop maybe a more productive routine? Or how do we avoid really this falling into a daily routine of doing nothing?
Right. Well, I don't think that everybody has really fallen into that routine, because there are companies that are working from home. And I
Absolutely.
think it is still quite a rigorous process. But I think overall, for everybody, it may sound very cliched what I'm saying, but it's very important to stay positive. Here I would like to share a personal story,
Sure.
where I've been in a post lockdown since the first week of January. I met with an accident. I broke my ankle. I needed an immediate surgery. As you can imagine, it totally disrupted my life. I have always been a very independent person, and this was kind of a shock. I really, I couldn't move around. I had to depend on other people to do things for me. So it was a very shaky period for me. But I had a choice. I had a choice. I could go into depression and complain about how unlucky I am, or I could be upbeat about the situation. I could be grateful for the kind of healthcare I received.
Mhm.
As an employee of Reliance, I got the best doctors, the best healthcare facilities. I got one of the best ankle and foot surgeons, Dr. Pradeep Munut, who operated on me. And also my friends and my family, my house help, and everybody, including my son, who suddenly turned into my parent, instead of being my child. So it was a time when I had so many things to be grateful for. Unfortunately, I had a new assignment coming up in April, which, because of this coronavirus, is on hold now. But what I believe is that we should not, we have the choice to be happy. We have the choice to sit around and move. But I made the choice to be active, to keep myself upbeat, to be connected with my friends. And overall, I think one of the things that I realized was very important was to have my sense of humor. And so I started exploring my own self. I took this time out to start this series called the Ikigai Warriors, where I am profiling a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, who have really gone through a lot of difficult situations in their lives and come out as a winner.
Can you tell us
So
a little
if,
bit
if you
before?
look,
Can you tell us a little bit about the concept of ikigai just before you get into it?
well, the concept of Ikigai is, it's a Japanese concept, and it has four aspects to it. In Japan, it's a way of life, and it has shown that it's basically living a life of purpose. And it increases your longevity, it increases your happiness quotient. And really, there are four aspects to it. One of them is that you have to find out what is it that you love, what is it that you're good at, what is it that you can get paid for, and what the world really needs. And if you really think about it, when all these four things come together,
Hmm.
we are fulfilled in our own purpose, and we are also able to work for the larger benefit of people. And I think, for me, if I really talk about, again, a personal experience, I have found my ikigai in life coaching, because I have been a communications person. I love to communicate. I love to relate with people. I have been trained to work with people, so I'm good at it. Life coaching is something that you get paid for, and it's quite a reputed industry now.
Hmm.
And it is also what the world needs, for so many people who just want somebody to talk to, somebody who can be a guiding light. I
Yeah.
think I think that's what it is. So this entire life coaching has been my ikigai, and really that's what ikigai stands for.
So, talking about purpose, what would you recommend that our viewers or anyone that's looking for this information, how do you find purpose? How do you find a little bit of, sort of, to borrow the phrase ikigai, in times like these where it kind of feels like everything is a little bit up in the air, and I'm sure that the lockdown is affecting people's anxiety levels and stress levels?
I think one of the important things is to start looking at the positives, as I said. You know, focusing on illness, focusing on worry, it really drains a lot of our energy, and
Mm-hmm.
it kind of really impacts your personal health. A negative thought loop, like we all know, it's a loop. It keeps replaying again and again, and you create these scenarios which may or may not ever come true. And sometimes you get stuck in it. You can't find an exit. You can't think. You can't logic your way out of it, and you feel as if you're just thinking and worrying, but you really sometimes you start obsessing over it. And negative thought loops or worry no, really drain a person's emotional and physical energy. And once your body is depleted of this very fundamental energy, it wears down the body's immune system. So I think one of the things that I would really tell people is stay in a positive frame of mind. Look at and notice what is going well during this lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
Try and explore who you are, what is it that you love doing, and I'm sure all of us will have the opportunity to find what we really enjoy doing, personally as well as professionally.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we have that extra time with our kids or our spouse or parents in the mornings or afternoons. But I think, like you said earlier, it's very important to keep your day and your life structured, to look at opportunities, to and when you are active, your mind also works really well. And like, again, I would like to share another personal story, that when I got out of the hospital after my surgery, I literally, because of the weakness and everything, I felt like a zombie at that point of time. And I went into this loop where I would just start watching Netflix at 8 p.m. and then just go on watching to 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. And of course, my mind the next day would be totally blurry. I would
Yeah.
sleep at odd hours, and then after some days of doing that, I realized that this is not how, this is a new comfort zone that I've created for myself. It's
Yeah.
not working for me because I'm not able to do anything. I'm not able to focus on reading. I'm not able to focus on writing. I'm not able to focus on my coaching activities. I had to push myself really hard. And I realized that I'm the only one accountable for using my time well.
It's true.
So I put a routine in place. I started focusing on my physiotherapy and on my wellness activities, so that I could recover faster and better. And that's what happened. And now I'm well on my way to recovery. So I would suggest to people is that use this time well. Use this time to look at what talents you have. What is it that you really enjoyed during your childhood, and you've kind of stopped doing it because you've been stuck in this, uh, you know, if I may use that word, rat race.
Yeah.
So it's very good to explore yourself. It's a great opportunity, I think.
Okay. And then, so just talking a little bit about, you said about negativity and then being productive. Like, do you think that there is a link between being positive or positivity and having a productive day or having a structured day? Because I think that's sort of what the link was there.
Sorry, I'm losing you, Sanjana.
No problem. 1 second. It'll come back in. I think my batti probably just went and came back.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just lost that entire question.
So I was
there was some problem with the internet, I think. Yeah, sure. Tell me.
I was asking you, basically my question was, what's the link between having a positive mindset and being productive, and is there one, do you believe?
Yes, of course. I think, having a positive mindset really pushes you to be accountable for your own growth and development.
Yeah.
When you get into a negative mindset, you start to lose confidence. You start to, be anxious about how people are perceiving you, how you look to others. If you've heard of this, there's something called the imposter syndrome as well.
Yeah.
Where one of the most successful people may feel like imposters in their own lives, in their workspaces, everything. So I think when you are positive, you feel confident. You know there is you have a plethora of talents which you can use, to make improve your life, the lives of people around you. You may do stand up comedy, maybe you're so good at it, maybe you want to create some paint something or create some cards or just sing or whatever. And
Yeah.
also what has happened is that we're in an online world. There are so many great learning platforms available. You can just learn so many new skills. You can learn so many things. One of the things that I would like to mention here is that ikigai does not say that you have to stick to that which is familiar and what you already know. One of the methods of finding your ikigai is really trying new things, really trying to learn something new and, explore something. And again, coming back to me, if I had not really gotten into life coaching or explored it for my own good, I would have never probably found my ikigai. I would just still be in the same rut.
Okay.
And I also think that, as a family, we can create a lot of learning opportunities for our kids. This is a fantastic
Yeah.
time to teach them certain life skills.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example again of my 17-year-old son who's never touched a broom in his entire life.
Yeah.
And because of my ankle, it's difficult for me to be doing any kind of sweeping or swapping or mopping. So I asked him yesterday to sweep and swap the house. And of course, I made a slight excuse that it's because of my sore ankle. So would he help me? And he agreed. So while I had to literally teach him how to do it, he did it. He did a very thorough job. After that, he asked me how much I pay my maid to do it. And he actually negotiated with me a neat amount of money to clean the house, to do the dishes, and to do some dusting. So if you really look at it, he's learned a few life skills here, right?
Indian
He's learned how
ingenuity.
to, sorry?
Said Indian ingenuity at play.
Yeah, absolutely. And so he's learned a few life skills. He's learned how to keep his house clean. He's learned how to negotiate with his mother for money. And he's also learned to appreciate those who, because he realized that it's a physical task. He came back to me saying that, oh, I've done my exercise for today and it's quite I've worked my core and my abs, and, so I was like, good. So now he appreciates those people who spend that physical energy to keep his house clean. So I think the idea is not to create a new comfort zone, because our brains are programmed to operate on a default mode of repetition. And therefore, it is very important to have a clear, specific program with, for coping and for enabling change. I think that's one of the things that I would really like to emphasize. Yeah.
And so my last question to you, so I think we have a lot of viewers, I'm sure we do. Um, I will not name any names, but maybe certain members of my household are behaving like this, where it's, yes, I think people understand that we should be having a structured day. Now, what would you say to these people in order to motivate them a little bit? Like what can you say to give these people motivational words to go forward and actually stay positive, stay productive, other than repeating it to them?
Right. One of, what I think? I think this is a time which I hope and I think will never come back again. It's this this kind of time where we have so much space to be with our family, to be with ourselves, and to look at newer things that we can do. I think this time will not come back again, and we should make the most of it. Otherwise, once we lose this time, we will come back to it later, saying, "I wish we had done something then."
Yeah.
And as time and time and space, we move on. It doesn't come back to us.
Right.
So it's very important to be able to use this time effectively, to be able to make all those changes in your life that you probably have been wanting to make, or looking at your limiting beliefs, your behaviors, and your decisions in a new light. I think it's the time for a change for all of us, whether we like it or not.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. And if you want to tell us how we can contact you in case we have any other questions or in case we are looking for a life coach?
Well, of course, I'd like to tell you that, people who come to me are the kind of people who are particularly curious about their mission, vision, and purpose in life. And people who really want to reorient their lives around their ikigai. It's important to work with a life coach when you're really, really ready to make changes in your life. And people can reach me on my email, which is called theikigaicoach@gmail.com.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time out and speaking with us today. And, hopefully this will help motivate a few people to stay positive and get productive. So thank you so much again.
Sure. Thank you, Sanjana. Thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you.
Likewise.
Thank you. Bye-bye.